All right, everyone. Thank you for joining me tonight. We are talking about from conflict to connection, managing relationship disagreements. So, kind of on our agenda tonight is a welcome and a warm drop in. Then, why we fight the way we fight, the real roots of reoccurring conflict, communication tools that de-escalate tension, emotional regulation for grounded conversations, and then repair and reconnection after conflict, and then a call to action in closing. So I'm so glad that you're here tonight. I'm Stephanie Moutei. I'm an intimacy and relationship coach and the founder of The Intimate Journey. For the next 30 minutes, we're going to be diving into something every couple experiences: conflict. Most couples don't like to deal with conflict. Um, and it's not because something is wrong, but because we're all human. And here's the truth that I want you to hold on to as we move through tonight together. Conflict isn't the problem, it's the disconnection that follows is. And when we shift how we communicate, the hardest moments actually can become opportunities for deeper understanding, repair, and intimacy. Please remember this is a safe space, no judgment. I invite everyone to share if you feel comfortable. Feel free to ask questions. There are no wrong answers. Before we start, if anyone feels like sharing in one word, maybe how do you feel during conflict? All right, we are going to move on. Why? Why do we fight the way we fight, right? There's a lot of different reasons. But let's start with something simple but powerful. During conflict, you're not fighting your partner, you're actually fighting your own nervous system. When tension rises, your body decides whether to fight, flight, fix, freeze, or shut down. That is an automatic response that kind of shapes how you show up. And a lot of it we've learned from our childhood, even into adulthood, right? Some of us pursue. We want to talk immediately, fix it, make it right. Some of us withdraw. We need space or we're feeling overwhelmed. Some of us shut down, and that can look like numbness, silence, disassociation. And for many of us, it really depends on the topic, how we react. I do have a poll that I'm going to put out there. If you'd like to answer, which conflict style do you relate to the most? Are you typically the pursuer? You want to talk immediately, fix it, make it right? Are you the withdrawer? You need space, you're feeling overwhelmed. Or maybe you shut down. There's the numbness, silence, disassociation. And again, for many of us, it really can depend on the topic.
Right.
All right. And this is important because conflict, it actually isn't personal, even though we feel a lot of times it is. It's actually patterned. Once you know you're patterned, you can actually start to change the entire dynamic. How amazing is that? So, the real roots of reoccurring conflict. Now, let's talk about why the same arguments maybe keep coming back. It really is rarely about the dishes, the tone, the text message, or who forgot to do what. Beneath almost every argument is an unmet need or an emotional wound. Conflict becomes a reaction to old pain rubbing against new situations. So, what your partner hears is almost never what you meant, and what you feel is almost never about just this moment. So, some examples I have on the screen, we may say, "You never listen." And what that really means is I need to feel valued and heard. Or maybe you're saying, "Why do you always walk away?" Right? That can translate to, "I'm needing reassurance that I matter." And this is an all too common one. "You're too emotional." May really actually mean, "I don't know how to handle this intensity and I'm really afraid of messing up." So, I have a reflective exercise for everyone, for anyone that would like to participate. Um, and this you're going to just do internally, right? So, I invite you to think of a recent argument, not the topic, okay? But think of the recent argument, not the topic, but the moment you felt something inside shift. So you're going to think about that argument, not necessarily the topic, but with that argument, can you think about the actual moment that you felt something shift inside? Now ask yourself, what was the need under my reaction? Was it safety? Was it reassurance? Were you needing respect, autonomy? Maybe you were really needing affection or certainty or understanding. If you feel comfortable, I invite you can drop in the chat or you can come off mute and speak one word that is the need that you identified from that exercise just now. A lot of times it is, yeah, listen to. So being understood and heard.
Right.
Great. Yeah. I love this quote. Conflict isn't the end of love. It's actually the invitation to love more consciously and being present, right? So, a lot of times people will avoid conflict because they're afraid that if there's conflict and you can't find a resolution, that's going to lead to the end of the relationship. So, people just avoid conflict out of that fear. But if you actually take a look at conflict and change the negative connotation around conflict to it is collaboration, because conflict is the two of you against the problem, not partner A against partner B against partner A. It's partner A and B together as a unit against whatever the problem is. And so with conflict, I like to think of it as collaboration and a way to connect. And that gives a much more positive connotation and emotion with conflict, right?
Mhm.
All right, now some communication tools that we can actually use to de-escalate tension. Yay. Now that we've explored the deeper needs behind conflict, let's shift into some tools that can help you communicate differently. And these tools, they'll actually help de-escalate instead of inflaming. So the first one is very, very simple. It is pause and name the moment. So instead of reacting instantly, you can pause and say, hey, this feels a bit intense. I care about us. Can we just slow down for a second? Or maybe this conversation matters to me and I don't want us to hurt each other. Can we just take a breath before continuing? Or I want to understand what you're saying, but my body is being really reactive right now. Can we pause so I can actually listen better? Or this might really help. I'm not in the right headspace to hear you clearly, but I want to be. Can we take 2 minutes or 5 minutes and come back? And sometimes, like that one, I like because, especially at the end of the day, if you just got home from work and something's asked about, or something didn't get done and the argument's starting, just saying like, hey, I'm not in the right headspace, I just got home, I really do want to hear you, but can we take 2 or 5 minutes and then come back? Right, that can completely de-escalate what's happening. Any of these sentences can stop a spiral to start. The second tool is soft startups. So the first 10 seconds of a conversation can really determine how the next 10 minutes are going to go. So I put up here two different things to kind of compare. The first one, which we don't want to do, is you never listen to me. I'm so tired of repeating myself, right? How many times have we all heard that, even from our parents, probably when we were kids? I'm tired of repeating myself. Or we could actually start with, I'm feeling overwhelmed and I really want us to understand each other tonight. Do you feel the difference in the energy between those two?
Yes.
The first one is, even as a kid, automatically gets us defensive, right? And even as an adult, we become even more defensive, because we know those patterns. We know how to push each other's buttons. And that is a choice right there where we can choose to be more blaming and attacking, where that is going to trigger someone to be defensive and that's going to continue to escalate things. Or we can come a little bit more soft and more compassionate, like, I'm feeling very overwhelmed. I really want us to understand each other. Can we just take a pause? The difference in that energy and how the conversation can continue is night and day. And then the third tool is the I feel I need framework. This will literally shift you out of blame and into self-expression. And that can definitely de-escalate. So I invite you to think about that argument earlier that I asked you to think about. Now I want you to rewrite using this structure. I feel blank when blank. What I need is blank. So an example could be, I feel frustrated when I get home and the dishes aren't put away. I don't know. What I need is consistency. Another one could be, I feel discouraged when you're silent. What I need is reassurance. And that you're explaining how you're feeling, which is self-expression. You're explaining like what you're experiencing and what it's related to. And then you're also expressing what your need is. It's a really great way to shift out of blaming, which goes back to the you always do this, or you always do that, or you don't ever do this, right? It takes us out of that, of the blame, and allows us to speak our truth and how we're feeling and using self-expression. But then you can also say what you actually need. And that need could be the reassurance, safety, consistency, communication, whatever the need is, right? So even if you never use the perfect wording, because especially if we're upset, it is sometimes hard to use the perfect wording, but the intention behind these tools can soften any conflict, any argument. Emotional regulation for grounded conversations. So communication tools are powerful, but they don't work if you are dysregulated. So we want to make sure that your nervous system is calm and not activated where your mouth is going to follow your survival mode. So let's reset your body. And I invite you, everyone, to follow along right now. You can do it in the comfort of your home while you're watching. There's a 1-minute embodiment reset. I have it on the screen for you, but I'll kind of walk us through it. So you're just going to kind of sit back, drop the shoulders, because when we're stressed and tense, we tend to get our shoulders up to our ears, right? So we're going to drop the shoulders, unclench your jaw, and then we're going to breathe through our nose for 4. And then hold for 2, and exhale slowly for 6. And if it feels comfortable, you can place a hand on your chest, and maybe even one on your chest and your stomach. And just feel your breath, feel your heartbeat. We're slowing everything down, getting our nervous system to relax. Now, I invite you to name the physical sensation that you felt in your body as you were going through the reset. It could have been tightness, heat. Maybe you experienced softening or release. And I just ask you and invite you to notice that. Pay attention to what you actually felt from when we first started, before we even did the sit back. How was your body? Was it tense? And then as we went through the 1-minute embodiment reset, did you start to notice it relax? Right? What shifted in your body after that reset? Now, this right here is how you can actually stay grounded in conflict. Not by trying to force calm, like calm down, right? That's a very common thing to say. Calm down. That just tends to escalate too. But actually, by regulating yourself very gently. These are some easy embodiment steps that you can do to reset and make sure you're regulating yourself, because that's going to help also to de-escalate any kind of argument, especially if it starts getting heated. Now, it's very important to also make sure that you repair and reconnect after conflict. A lot of times couples, they'll have that conflict and then there's no resolution, then we don't repair it. We just go to bed or go to separate rooms and silent, and next day act like nothing even happened, right? But if we don't repair it and work on reconnecting with one another, it starts to build up resentment and anger and frustration because there was no resolution. There was no coming together and being able to reconnect and show love to one another after conflict. And that can be challenging, right? But the more you practice this, the better you get at it. And it will make a lasting impact when you're dealing with conflict. So, repair isn't about pretending the conflict didn't happen. It's actually about closing that emotional distance between you. And here are some simple repair moves that you can start using immediately. Maybe it's just simply saying, "Can we start over? Things just got too heated. Let's take a beat and let's maybe start over." Maybe you need 5 minutes before you start over too. A simple "I hear you" can go a long way, but really mean it, because you are listening to your partner and you do actually hear them and what they're saying. "I see how that impacted you." That one, that can shift the entire energy right there of "I see how that impacted you." And that allows for repair and to reconnect, right? I want to understand what you're feeling. I love this one. "We're a team." So many couples forget that they're on the same team. They're not against each other. So just simply saying that we're on a team and let's get through this together. Let's figure this out together. I've got your back. You got my back. We're going to work through this. Doing a simple 10-second hug or just a hand on the back, letting your person know that you're there and that you're supporting them, that they're safe. And appreciations right after the conversation it can be huge. And those appreciations can just simply be, "I really appreciate you sharing. I appreciate you being transparent. I appreciate you being authentic. I appreciate you caring," right? Because a lot of times the conflicts can come from being so passionate about something. So that appreciation could be, "I really appreciate how passionate you are about this topic," whatever the topic is. Those appreciations, even the smallest, can soften each other's hearts and really help with the repair and reconnecting. Repairs help build trust. The consistency helps build safety. So, another exercise for you is think of a recent conflict and choose one of these repairs and choose one repair that will bring you into, sorry, let's get my words tongue tied here. So you're going to think of a recent conflict, and then you're going to choose one of these repairs that you're going to use in your next conflict to help move through that tense moment, right? So you can take a screenshot of these, take a moment and write it down if you'd like. But these are really, really helpful.
So your phone, take a picture.
Yeah.
You see it?
Yeah.
Awesome. It's not that the argument that breaks the bond, but the absence of understanding afterwards. It's not the actual argument that breaks the bond, but it's the actual absence of understanding afterwards that breaks the bond. Does that make sense? I love that quote. It's huge. That's such a huge impact right there, that, and being able to understand that it's not really the argument of what's happening in the argument that's going to break your bond. It's how you actually treat each other after the argument. Do you just be silent? Do you ignore it? Do you act like nothing happened? Or do you actually show that there's an understanding of each other's perspectives, each other's opinions, what maybe was the trigger, and understanding that? Because there can, especially depending on your partner's past, if there was any kind of trauma, these arguments could be a trigger, and being able to actually understand what's happening behind your partner being upset in an argument can make such the difference afterwards. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a few prompts that you can journal on later tonight or sometime later this week. These will help you deepen everything that we have covered tonight. The first one is, what feelings do I bring into conflict from my past? Second, how do I want to show up differently during tense moments? The third, what does emotional safety look like and feel like for me? And the last one is, what is one communication habit I'm committed to shifting? And again, I invite you to take a picture if you'd like, or write these down. These will be really helpful to dive a little bit deeper in, and it will help you gain some understanding of how you handle conflict, but also how do you want to be going forward? Are there things that you recognize in yourself that you can change and shift to improve when conflict arises? And I would like to just take a moment before we come to a close and ask if anyone has any questions. If so, please feel free to ask. I'm here to answer any questions anyone may have.
No.
Okay. I would love to keep supporting your growth, your communication, and your intimacy as a couple or as an individual. Before we close, if you'd like to drop one word in the chat describing what you're leaving with tonight, you can do that, or keep it to yourself. I would also like to invite you to the webinar next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. It's on balancing independence and togetherness. I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for your openness, and thank you for choosing connection over conflict. I am Stephanie, and it has truly been an honor to guide you tonight. Have a great night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.